I'm just looking at this talk like we have something to share and how we're going about sharing it, because it does seem like there's only so much time to be able to present this, because it seems like these reptilians or Mordok or whoever still has control or powers to be on this planet, maybe deciding to destroy the planet, actually. It does seem within their abilities to destroy this little speck of dust if they decided to. So it is the now. Whoever's listening out there, if there's anyone that the real guides have made to get to listen to this blog talk radio today, it's important to find out for yourself by singing the new you like 15 minutes before you go to sleep, and 15 minutes when you wake up in the morning, and see what life shows you. Because it sounds like we may be robotized and in deformed bodies and stuff. If we reincarnate, keep reincarnating, it's getting worse and worse. I guess this is the opportunity is right now. I really don't have much more to say today. I'd just like to listen to whatever anybody else might have to say about this new you presentation, or about the projects that are involved to bring this forth to mankind, so that everybody has the opportunity to at least test it for themselves and hear about it.
Take the RiskTaker to come out and talk about this. I appreciate you coming, doing this, Tim. There's others too that are, to a certain extent, I mean, they're not talking about what we're talking about, but they are becoming more aware. And it's basically through the internet now that they're seeing the distortions and corruptions that are going on with the governments and the controllers and the elites and the reptilians and all that. So the knowledge is out there. People are starting to wake up, and a few people are doing something about it. That it just takes a RiskTaker to come out and share, because there is a factor of danger, because they'll get rid of you, or they'll do harm to your career or family. So there's something to that. And like before you said, they are watching. The reason that this stuff isn't out there, because they are watching people, and they do take care of people that say too much sometimes. So the idea is the more people that do agree to or disagree to what they're doing, the better off everybody else will be, and the so-called safer will be, although it's never safe here in the creation world, because there'll always be the cow, the negative forces and all that, because it's their rulership. But we can do something while we're here. Just reminds me of one more story here. This other day we had this other radio show with Bob and Sandy, and there was a fellow on. His name was Randy, and he's done a lot of conversions with different fuels for cars, hydrogen and compressed gas, natural gas, and different safer fuels and more eco-friendly fuels. Well, he did one conversion I think it was in the 80s. He had a Ford truck, in 1970 Ford truck, where he converted into, I forget exactly what it was, what kind of fuel, but it was, it was nothing new even then, but he converted it to where it got almost 100 miles per gallon. It's clean burning. And he actually sold it, or somebody bought it, and they sold it for $2.5 million, I think he said. And this is and who bought it? Standard Oil bought it. And what he said is they put it on a flatbed truck, and they drove it to the dump and just dumped it. Because they don't want this kind of technology out there, because they have a monopoly on the oil business, and they want to keep their profits up. And that's just one of the little things that's going around. But there's so much corruption. This world is so bad, so steeped in negativity that they will watch people, and they'll do what they can to prevent them from waking up and from sharing. So, but at the same time, what we're doing, we're basically the only light in this world right now. Even though a lot of people are doing some good things, they don't see the real universes like we do. We're presenting the real reality beyond the gods of man and all the spiritual paths. So who else is doing that? And so we're the only ones out here doing this. And so it's like, who's going to listen? We'll see. A few people are waking up, and we're all over Facebook and doing the blog talk radio shows. We've got Skypes, we've got projects all over the world. So we're doing what we can, and same with you, Tim. So thank you for being on, having the show.
Yeah, sure. I would mention that by testing this new UUU sessions to connect with the real guides, we are promised that the real guides give us protection. So that gives us courage that we have backup.
Right, there's some of that. Basically, it's life. The more aware you are, the more backup or protection you have. It's just natural, because life takes care of itself. So it's not necessarily somebody's going to come and save you, but life itself, in its entirety, sees that, and by its very nature, it's a survivor. So it's going to be your link with it. If you're tied to it and relate to it, then you're with it. You're part of it. So you're going to survive.
I did see that information on this technology now being provided about the free energy with magnets and copper, and maybe it's crystals involved too. It might not be the size of the crystal, but the shape. But there seems to be a way to get away from these pollutants in the air by using this modern technology. If a person can find it, the free energy, and put it into action to use for it, I guess it creates electricity, the free energy, like Tesla stuff. It is seemingly available, There are people presenting their experiments and showing how it works. They're taking the risk without the protection pretty much of the real guides in their life at the present, it seems. But there is this new technology being put out on this computer stuff. If a person looks it up, they can find the ways to make energy that's all around us in the air, and we don't have to use oil or things that pollute the air.
Been around, yeah, it's been around. It's been suppressed all this time. So we shall see how far we get.
Yeah, if the inventors would just not connect to their personal lives and would just build it and present it in many, many, many places all over the cities and towns, and people would see, and then they'd be duplicating it, and then there wouldn't seem to be anything that the brutalitarians or the world controllers could do about it. But if they're taking credit for building the apparatus to make the free energy, then they're in jeopardy of the brutalitarians finding them and getting rid of them. So it would be like just create it and put it out where people can see it and become aware of it. And the more places, the better. And then it would spread. But anyway, that's just in this psych realm stuff and for the betterment of life on the earth at the present. But it doesn't sound like it's going to get better here. It's only going to get worse. So the main thing is to get real guidance and the real education to get to the real universes, to not have to reincarnate anymore.
I think you're onto something, Tim.
People get a consciousness going where they're agreeing to not use the fossil fuels or things that pollute the air or water and food, to have a view of how good life could be for everyone. And I think that that's how it is in the real universes. Anyway, would anybody like to talk about anything in particular else today?
Well, just one has to be a little creative and clever. We're talking about the water, the fuel for the water, or the fuel for the cars, and here in California, they've got lots of restrictions on these alternative fuel options. The EPA has this approved kit. Cost I think I was talking to Randy. This fellow, it has an improved kit for $12,000 or something. $4,000 of that is just goes into their pocket. It doesn't cost that much. I mean, it costs very little to convert your vehicle to one of these alternative fuels. But they have all these restrictions set up so that it makes it very difficult, and they price it out of people's means, actually, by doing it. So if they really wanted clean air, I mean, they would make it so it would be available, but they're not. So he has things like you could take it off and on, because his conversion is so clean that the smog. If we go get a smog certificate, it won't even read it, and it'll say it didn't pass because it's so clean. It won't register. So he's being clever and trying to get something so that you can take it on and off. So when you go get a smog certificate and check, you can take his device off and then have it go through and then put it back on when you're done with the test. So it takes a little cleverness and creativity all the time. And we're not really shown that in the spiritual paths. We're shown, you worship and pray and love each other and all that. But do they really talk about being creative or clever or using your common, using what makes sense? It's always kind of up in the air, worshiping and praying to somebody you don't even know, this God or these beings, these angels that are supposedly beneficial. You don't really know. So what we're advocating more is this, what makes sense. You got to kind of look at it, what is really happening in the world, and make sense of it. I mean, really sit down and not what you believe is happening, like the chemtrails. Well, I don't believe I believe that there's condensation trails. It's not about belief. It's just do a little research and you'll see there's so much on what's being sprayed up there by these military jets. It's not about belief. It's just what's actually happening, and then being creative in terms of how you handle it. Because again, it's a dangerous world. It's always been. It's always going to be. No matter what people say, no matter what the government says about protecting you and keeping you safe, it's dangerous here. So. Tim says, sing the new you and watch your dreams and make sense of things the best you can and do something to contribute.
Yeah, thanks, Val. I was just noticing another little quotation. Dwayne says that real love is demonstrated. And what is it we do on earth here that keeps us apart? Why isn't everybody agreeable and trying to make the world a better place for everyone?
That's why you have this show, Investigator Tim, to find out. Yes. Thank you, Tim. Thank you, Tim. Alert the world. The new you.
Yeah. Yeah, it seems like we have the opportunity to make people aware of how good life can be. And I'm thankful for the chance and this guidance that we're being given, and the education we're being given. So Dwayne, Ava, and everybody involved seem to be so important right now on this earth before it all goes to the worst imaginable. We've got this chance to help many like we'd want to be helped ourselves. This study of life, of being, and all these experiences we're having and have gone through, and all the things that we don't know that maybe are important, and when the time's right, the guides will let us know what it is that would be best to do for everyone. Anyway, I'm glad to talk with everybody, and I hope that somebody out there, that the real guides have given you an opportunity to hear about the new you song and test it for yourself. And there's also the Skypes Kelsey was talking about, and these blog talk radio shows. I'm still not sure how people would find to get to listen to them.
You would go to www.blogtalkradio.com/Kelsey Lynn Brown. That's where all of the radio shows are archived. There are also some radio shows on my YouTube channel, which is Kelsey Lynn Brown, and on my SoundCloud account, which is Kelsey Lynn Brown, and on New Kevin Smith, 3 words, New Kevin Smith. On New Kevin Smith YouTube channel, there are multiple, if not into the hundreds, of recordings from our Skype calls all over the world over the past few years. Kevin Smith of Leighton Buzzard in the United Kingdom has been editing those and uploading some of those excerpts and audios of real side experiences, conversations with Dwayne and many of our friends around the world in different projects over the past 2 years. So those Skype archives and recordings are on NU Kevin Smith, New Kevin Smith, and there are some on my YouTube channel as well, Kelsey Lynn Brown, but specifically for all of the Blog Talk radio shows within the past year. They're going to be on blogtalkradio.com/Kelsey Lynn Brown, and on wonderfulworldwideeducators.com. That's where you can purchase the new books by Dwayne the Great Writer, 1 through 9. And there's also the Rebazar book, the Rebazar Duva book. These are color books, hardcover, and there's also the True courses, the Children's Dream course, the All Life Supporter. So that's more so than a life coach. It's a 3-year course by Dwayne the Great Writer. You can get involved with others as well as you're taking these courses and share on Skype or within your local community as you're reading through these courses and having experiences and trying to better understand. So those are on wonderfulworldwideeducators.com, PDF, paperback, and hardcover. And there's also the kids' books on wonderfulworldwideeducators.com and newhomeschool.club, nuhomeschool.club. And that's the kids' books 1 through 6. And there is also a dream journal, a real side journal you can purchase on wonderfulworldwideeducators.com. It has an awesome image of Rebazar on the front and some kids within it, pictures of children, and then it goes into the different months of the year so that you can take down notes or write down your real side experiences that way to eventually type them out onto a computer or put them in audio to share with people. So blogtalkradio.com/Kelsey Lynn Brown and wonderfulworldwideeducators.com.
Yeah, thanks again for letting everybody know about all the opportunities that are being presented that they can get a hold of if they want to pay attention. I'm not sure if our time's just about up or how long it goes. But is there anything else anybody'd like to mention?
I would just say let's sing the new you so everybody can hear how we sound and they can test it and have fun singing it tonight or when they listen to this recording.
That sounds great. New you.
New you.
New you, you. New you, you.
That was wonderful. We'll see everybody.
Thank you, Tim.